Well, the toll of Indonesia's palm oil export ban on its farmers highlights the challenges the countries face when they try to ensure essential food items stay affordable. India's recent curbs on wheat exports also hitting its traders and producers. They are stuck with about 2 million tons of wheat and would incur heavy losses if they sell in a weaker domestic market. The ban sent international wheat prices to a record yesterday. Mera, head of Agri Commodities Market Research at Rabobank, joins us now. Carlos, such export bans appear to be on the rise given the supply chain disruptions and the Ukraine war. Would there be more as climate change upends long-term harvesting patterns?
Yes, absolutely. Like the more scarcity we see in the world, the more crops are affected by the weather, the more likely we're going to see this sort of food nationalisms rising in different countries. However, having said that, the current climate patterns that we see, they're very consistent with the La Nina event that don't necessarily have to do with climate change. We saw similar patterns back in 2010, 11, 12. And those events tend to be very bullish for agricultural commodities because they affect crops in a number of geographies.
Well, Carlos, looking at Indonesia's ban, it's led to overstocking of palm oil in local warehouses, while local cooking oil prices have not dropped much. So, how useful are such bans in calming those domestic prices?
Well, they're only a temporary measure, really. I mean, you can control prices in the very short term, but if you think about the longer term, they will have a number of disruptions across the market, in the internal market and in the international market. And this means that the international market will see Indonesia as a very unreliable partner going forward. And also for farmers, they get the wrong signals because the profitability will be affected. So yes, the government could control domestic price inflation in the very short term. 6 months from now, what are they going to do? If prices continue to rise, will they stop and make another export ban in 6 months' time again? And that's a major concern for agricultural supply chains at the moment.
Yeah, and Carlos, so, how then could the global food inflation situation ease if more producing countries curb their exports, and what can be done to improve the situation?
Well, hopefully we'll get to an understanding that, banning exports is a desperate measure. There are many other measures that could be done that are not so extreme. We could see some export taxes instead of an outright ban. We could see some subsidies. We could see subsidies to particular crops around the world that are much more sensitive, like, for example, vegetable oil or wheat that are for direct human consumption. So I want to believe the world will move into that direction rather than just disrupting the whole supply chain from one day to the next. Another thing the world might look at is at revising ethanol and biodiesel mandates. Now, I'm going to be agnostic about that, but we may see that happening.
Well, thanks for that. Carlos Mera there from Rabobank.